Welcome to Bobble Pod, everyone. I'm Anushmeta Kanyan.
I'm Manpreet Singh.
And I'm Claire Daniels.
And in today's episode, we are going to learn about our host inside, and it's your turn, Mani. So we are eager to learn about you.
Can't wait. I'm an open book, so fire away.
Yeah, so we want to learn about your background and about your career, please.
Well, I'll start with I've always been in marketing. I've always been passionate about marketing. If I go back to high school, which is probably the biggest deciding point I had in my career, if I'm really honest, I wanted to get into the armed forces. I never wanted to get into higher ed. Well, I never really wanted to go to uni, but let's just say that decision didn't go down well with family in the midst of international wars and what's going on. And during my time sixth form, was doing business studies. I really, really enjoyed this one module, which was about marketing and advertising. So I realized that actually I really enjoyed it. I was good at it. And by the time I got to uni, I did my degree in marketing and advertising management. And I was fortunate enough to do a summer placement with an agency in Leeds called 26. And it was only at that point where I realized, yes, this is what I want. I love this environment. It challenges me. It's so different. I'm learning new things every day. And I was just eager to finish my degree and get into the industry in terms of marketing. Unbeknown to me, it was a economic crisis at the time. No one was hiring interns, no one was hiring graduates. I actually went back and did my master's in marketing to further my education. I was fortunate enough to actually be a PR ambassador for Sainsbury's. Like most people, I worked part-time at a supermarket to pay the bills and be able to enjoy myself as a student. But I was given a lot of opportunities just because I never really sat in one place. I always wanted to excel and get further. Then after my master's degree, I was able to get my first role within agency life at Cara, which is Dentsu Aegis Group in Leeds, working on accounts like Jet2, working on accounts like Interflora, through to Seabucks Crisps. It was my first real experience, and I was a online media assistant, and it was really, really fun. I enjoyed it. I learned so much within the digital landscape that I just developed very, very, very quickly before moving on into marketing. And that was the highlight of one of my careers in terms of working for Intermarketing. The just general agency atmosphere was different to that of a media agency. At Intermarketing, they were a full integrated agency. So they did websites, they did videos, they did client management. Their high profile client was Adidas. So I was able to work on, big name international brands. I was then able to do international campaigns in Australia, across Europe, for brands like Unidays. I was able to then take my skills further and actually build the digital team at Intermarketing and bring in resource. And they never really had a digital team before I was there. My hiring was a bit of a, let's see how this goes, but it went extremely well because the team grew to a size of 4 or 5. And then I'm quite honest in my career. On New Year's Day, 2017, I was in hospital with pneumonia and kidney failure. So I've always had a kidney problem since I was a kid. I managed it extremely well. But in 2016, the signs were there that, they're not going to last long. And that made me rethink what I wanted in my career, where I wanted to be. I've always wanted to be my own boss. I've always wanted to run my own business. My goal of getting into marketing and the agency life was I want to run my own agency one day. So I always knew, and I guess I'm fortunate compared to others, that I was at a younger age, I kind of really knew what I wanted out of my career and path. And yes, when you're faced with what is classed as a terminal illness, it kind of puts things into perspective in terms of what you want. And if I'm honest, it was too soon, but I went for it anyway. And Bobble Digital was set up in November 2016, but we didn't start trading until May 2017, which was 3-4 months after I never recovered, but my kidneys never recovered, and I ended up on dialysis 3 times a week. And I'm a big advocate of supporting organ donation as an individual. And yeah, so I ran my agency and set up my agency life with my cousin and my friend at the time, 3 directors, whilst going for dialysis 3 times a week. So it was very, very, very challenging at the time. fast forward to now, I own the company outright. I was able to buy out my friend who then moved to Zimbabwe. And during the pandemic, I was able to buy out my cousin who has another business interest. So it just made it made sense and economical sense that, I take control of Bobble Digital. Since trading in May 2017, we are coming up to 4 years now, which I can't believe. It's 4 years. As you might have heard if you were listening to the podcast Insight with Claire, we have now just recently moved in and to the same offices with Trio, and we're very, very excited to do so. The collaborations we do across clients, we see them as a sister agency anyway, and it'll help us grow our revenue and turnover over the next, year on year is going to be 400%. So we've really, really benefited. But yeah, it was really that, life-changing moment that I had with having my kidneys failed and realizing what do I really want out of life, and the uncertainty when you're on dialysis at my age, the life expectancy then gets to around about 15 to 20 years. So time, unfortunately, is not on your side when you want to achieve things in life, and there's no guarantee of that. I can happily say to anyone listening, I was fortunate and grateful enough to get a kidney transplant in March 19th, 2020. So just a few days before lockdown. Very scary time, because obviously suppressed immune system, but I have recovered absolutely tremendously. I am, as you can see, anyone watching the podcast, I look fit and healthy. Just have a look at some of our older videos in terms of how big I was. So my health and fitness has come back. What I felt really in the last 12, 14 months is that energy and drive that I had before my kidneys failed, that helped me excel during my times at Cara and into marketing, come back. And it's really, passed on to the team here at Bobble and everyone I'm working with in terms of clients.
Woo! First of all, congratulations on the transplant. And thank you for sharing that story, Manny. Again, so inspiring. And, I think for the people listening who've been faced with other challenges, to know that you can come out the other side and thrive from those type of things. And so brave of you to set up on your own at a time like that. So such an amazing story. What people might not know, that I don't know if we've said yet, is you and I went to school together. Weren't busy mates at school, but also weren't not friends, and we kind of both have kept an eye on each other's career paths and journeys, and ended up aligning to where we are today, obviously cohabiting in an office.
Even bumping into each other when we used to walk to work in the morning, because Smoothball was just around the corner from where I was at Karen, but morning, Claire. Yeah,
we would go to work to our separate jobs, and then all of a sudden one day we're like, oh, we've both got our own agencies, and how can we help each other and work together? I've got so many questions, to be honest, even though I know your story, hearing you talk about it is kind of inspiring me and wanting me to ask things. I would like you to explain a bit more about Bobble, where the name came from, and what it is that you actually do today. But also I want to know, if you hadn't have got that diagnosis with your kidneys, do you think you would have been on the same path you're on now? Are you where you expected to be?
So Bobble is my nickname. So those, and Claire knows this, back in high school, Manpreet, which is my full name, is a very common Indian name. So either people call me Manny, or those very close to me call me Bobble. And the reason those people close to me call me Bobble is because Bobble's a name you can trust. If you need advice or insights, or everyone would say, well, have you spoken to Bobble yet? And it's that kind of ethics and transitions that I want to inspire and instill into the agency. And when coming up with names, and I was with my mate, he goes, why do you just call it Bobble Digital? So a big thanks out to Harpal of KD Brothers, who gave me the idea. And just by chance, the domain was available, Bobble Digital. So I took the name, and I wanted a bit of myself and who I am as an individual, how I see the market in terms of how I've worked with clients in the past, my views, my ethics, my motivation, my drive to be part of the brand. And before you know it, Bobble Digital became a synonymous name within Leeds, and I'm very, very grateful for that. We have changed a lot. And I've got to thank Trio as well for that, because we tried to do it all as an agency. And I do believe we were a fully integrated agency, doing websites, doing video production, doing, creative design, as well as digital marketing. But over the last 18 months, we really focused down on our speciality, which is marketing strategy. search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, paid social, and video advertising, along with analytics. So we are a digital media agency, and the reason we work with Claire and Tria, because they do amazing websites, including our own. They do amazing creative work, which we support with. And the reason we work with Anush at Burnwee is because they do amazing video animations production work. So we just kind of dropped 3 or half of our business offering and started working with other agencies that were better at it than us and focus on what we were really, really good at. Coming back to the second question is, had I'd not got that diagnosis, I don't think I would be where I am now. I think I would have probably spent longer working for other agencies and moving up the ranks. But the end goal was always to be where I am. But everything happens for a reason. I still wasn't sure after my kidneys failed what I was going to do. The full intention was me to go back and work for Intermarketing starting in May. I'm happy because to share this is, I just remember being in hospital and just absolutely crying, thinking that's it, my life's over. And I needed something, and I was getting into a spiral of depression in myself and thinking, 25, 26 years old, what is my life? What is my potential future? It just goes all out of the window, and you become lost, and you get lost in your thoughts, and then these thoughts can manifest. And I needed something to cling on to, something to spare me, drive me, to get me out of bed in the morning. And the idea of running Bobble Digital and having that conversation with my friend is why I am where I am right now, because it became that driving force for me to kind of like my why for continuing with a horrible treatment, my why for continuing to persevere with the side effects, etc. So I'm kind of happy how it worked out, because I'm in a better place than I would have been if I was still working for an agency.
Mani, just a question about what accomplishments of Bobble Pod do you think you are the most proud of?
In terms of the agency, I think when we first won our international client, to be able to take that experience and actually actually win an international client overall was a bit of a feat. Because we're such a small boutique agency at the time, and for an international brand like Interface to put their trust in us was to show that we were on the right path in terms of what we wanted to do and achieve. But I think the biggest accomplishment is where I am right now in terms of, in the last 12 months alone, we've increased our team size, by 4. So we're a team of 6 now, 4 hires this year alone. Being able to move in with Trio, being able to run the podcast with yourself, Anush and Claire, and the launch of that, and being able to transition in a time where a lot of other larger agencies have struggled, and being able to focus on where I am. So my biggest accomplishment is like taking control of the agency and actually getting it to where it is now in terms of where I would want it to be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, especially during the most, let's say, difficult times of all companies during pandemic period. And I wanted also to ask if you can save a place at your office for Burnley whenever we move to UK.
Of course.
Yes, we would love that.
There's another room next door which we want to take over.
We'll keep knocking through. We've already knocked through twice. So Mani, I want to know, in terms of you've seen incredible growth this year alone, like you say, and throughout the journey of Bobble Digital. What's the future plans? Where are you expecting to go next?
So next is to continue growing the team obviously in the offices with yourself. But I've always seen it go international. I don't want to sit in one place. I want Leeds to be the head office, but I want to open up offices around the world. I want to be able to showcase and deliver this model, not just to, organizations in the UK, but beyond. And like any other agency owner, their goal is to build it and then for it to be acquired. I'm very driven by, I'd rather work 10 years like a dog than 25 years slowly and, have part of a life and enjoy as much of my life. And that mainly comes from the mentality of, at that time, I didn't know if I was going to live more than 15, 20 years. So I was like, I need to work and make my money and actually start enjoying life. And that still, despite me having a transplant and having the potential future of living a long, healthy life, is still the case. So it's building the agency not too fast in terms of manageable growth, but it's growing it and taking us beyond the shores of the UK in in the next 2 to 3 years and actually building those relationships at an international level and showing the world what Bobble is and what Bobble means.
Amazing. So you hear that, Anush? Manny's going to need
some
space.
Need some space in Armenia as well, please.
Yeah, come here. We have a lot of space here. So I actually wanted to ask you about, based on your experience as a founder, what advice would you give like other, let's say, entrepreneurs who are just starting with their businesses?
It's quite difficult. All I know is that when I look back at my time of being an owner and a CEO, which I'm proud of, and a founder, is I can only remember the difficult challenges I faced. You don't really remember as much as the good ones, but I can guarantee you this, when you do have those good moments, they overshadow and outweigh everything else. It's never going to be plain sailing. It's never going to be easy. I've had directors leave. I've been in a position, I think, when our director decided to leave and go to Zimbabwe, we had our largest client in 2 to 3 months in arrears. We had our second largest clients in 2 to 3 months in arrears. And it got to end of August. I was thinking, is this agency still going to be viable when we get to September? And that was only in 2018. So 2 years after. So you will have difficult times ahead. It's perseverance and focusing on that end goal. And before you know it, things just start to align. It's making sure you learn from the difficult periods, because then there's going to be, and I envisage even more difficult periods coming ahead. No one of us could have envisaged a global pandemic happening, throughout 2020. And, these challenges are going to continue to come, and they're going to come when you least expect it. But once you get through it, you get that mentality of, we've been through worse, we can get through this. And you do it, and you start to do it as a team, and you start to do it and you get used to it. And before you know it, it's just problem solving becomes second nature, and you start seeing more growth and more positive points and more positive memories and high points within the agency than before. So just stick at it. It's never easy. Even if you do fail, on the verge of fail, just knowing that it's not the end, just learn from it and continue to go.
Yeah, I mean, they say get comfortable with being uncomfortable when you run your own business. It's absolutely that, isn't it? You've kind of touched upon some points there in terms of challenges that you faced. And so like my last question to you, aside from the personal challenges with your kidney failure, is what's been the biggest business challenge that you've faced?
I think it's wearing so many hats as an owner and a CEO. When you're running an agency by yourself, you're running the financial department, you're running the HR department, you're running the legal department, you're running the recruitment department. You're also getting involved in clients and results. You're also the account manager. You're also, the admin person. You have to wear so many different hats, and it is difficult and overwhelming. I was looking at this and I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I was like, the last time I took a day off was for my birthday in 2021. And that's not to sound sad or anything. I love what I do. I'm extremely passionate about what I do. To me, working every day on Bobble is a dream. But you won't really get time off because you wear so many hats. But that's expected, and that won't continue in the short term because of how quickly our team's grown and, investing into external resources. But the difficulty has come from, and, the biggest challenge has come from wearing so many different hats and stuff I didn't know about. I don't claim to be a business expert. I didn't know all about this stuff. I've had to learn QuickBooks. I've had to learn all these softwares, Timetastic, time management. I've had to learn all the legal procedures around pensions, etc. That is a learning curve that, it's a shock, and be prepared to learn. But it only makes you a better owner and a better CEO.
Yeah. Mani, I'm sure a lot of listeners would love to know what you do outside of the office, because we all were talking about our business lives. So I'm sure we want to know about what you do in peer time.
In my spare time, I can't really say much in the last year because I'm trying to think what I've done the last year, but we've all been children and in lockdown.
Yeah.
But more recently, I love going for walks around the countryside. I do love motorsports, so I like racing in safe environments like track day events. I do love my sports, but I love traveling as well, and that's part of the global expansion, is being able to travel more and do more. But in my spare time, I am a bit of a, I call it a nerd, Marvel fan, geek, and a, I'm into that kind of like collections and memorabilia kind of stuff. So you never want to see my bedroom because it's just full of stuff that just doesn't make sense.
Okay. And for my last question, maybe, is there anything that you want to share with us that people can't find like online?
I'm guessing if they can't find it online, I've hidden it for a reason. No, if you even go, I'm very open in terms of who I am. But the only thing I would say is that one thing I don't really probably communicate much is I'm a very, very big advocate of organ donation and raising awareness about that. So I like to do as much charity work as I can and giving back, because, I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am with the support I've had from friends and family and colleagues alike, that I like to give back as much as I can in terms of supporting charities and particular missions similar to Claire in terms of we support the Rainforest Trust, very, very environmental. But yeah, I'm quite an advocate of, health and well-being for most people. So that's probably one thing I'd say that I probably don't communicate much about myself online, but I am a huge advocate of.
Awesome. Mani, thanks so much for the inspiring and wonderful, let's say, talk together. It was really good to learn about you more.